right, welcome into the Questionable Podcast. You got Scotty Questions with the entire crew. Meko, what's good?
What's good, man?
Oh, and Gionne.
How we doing?
Oh, I like that new intro. He's been practicing, Meko. We're doing great because I have both of you here today. So we've got the crew back together again. Again, please, everyone, welcome back in. Please like, follow, subscribe to the Questionable Podcast. Don't forget to go to questionabletees.com to see all the cool merch we have these days. And we have been teasing and will continue to tease until they show up. You'll be showing up tomorrow. Some pieces of apparel that we will be getting in the hands of some people that might be on Hard Knocks. So, again, please like, follow, subscribe. Wherever you listen to podcasts, also YouTube, please subscribe on the YouTube channel. And now that I've gotten that out the way, gentlemen, Meko, I'm so happy to see you. John, happy to see you again. I'm glad to be back. We've got the full crew. We're going to have a great show. And we're going to dive into Hard Knocks, right? We just watched it. We're going to tell Gionne about it. Meko and I watch it. Gionne didn't get to watch it, so we're going to dive in. We're going to break it down because it was probably the best Hard Knocks episode of all time. Now, it's hard for me because as I'm watching it, yes, I'm a fan. Yes. But HBO Films did a fantastic job again this week, and they really took it to the next level. So I'm going to get off my soapbox here, and I'm going to let Meko lead us off because I'm just going to start screaming about it. So, Meko, do you want to kind of like kick us off and get us started here? Because I feel like I'm going to start yelling into the mic, and then people won't like it. John, yes?
Can I just add one thing real quick?
Sure.
I forgot to add yet last week. It was very surreal to me as a Lions fan going to what the same place where I used to go log in to watch Game of Thrones, the place where I go to watch The Wire, the place where I go to watch, my premier content, Dune, was the same place where I went to go watch the Detroit Lions. That was just a very surreal, just worlds colliding in that moment.
That's a good point because every year when I turn it on, Hard Knocks, I'm like, the HBO. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm excited. Like, this is gonna be great content. And then it's like, and then it's like Dan Campbell. I'm like, shit.
Yes.
Yeah. It's different.
It hits a little harder. But anyway, so I'm gonna have Meko lead us off a little bit. But that episode was ridiculous. That episode was everything I thought it would be and more. But I do have to say, and I'm just gonna, the blooper reels at the end
are amazing.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to lead off with this. Hey, John.
Yes.
What do you call 007 taking a bubble bath?
I don't know.
007. Jamal turns to the camera like this.
Jamal and Vaitai. It is just like they both just look into the camera at the same time. Like
he takes a little sip. He takes a little sip of his mini. It's a mini Gatorade too. It's not a big one. It's a mini one. He goes, "What is 007 taking a bubble bath?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, 007, and he goes.
Just knows the cameras are on him.
For those that aren't watching, get on YouTube and watch because it's fun.
Amazing. It's amazing. No, dude, like I feel like I can say like this is the greatest Hard Knocks episode ever because I've only watched 2 episodes of Hard Knocks. So like every episode I get to watch is going to feel like the greatest episode ever.
But I've watched the past 6 like seasons. Like I know Hard Knocks. Well, 6, 8. 10. I mean, I've been watching. I'm an avid watcher of Hard Knocks. I love Hard Knocks. It gets me pumped up for the season. And so I can tell you based on what I've seen, funniest one. It's the deepest one. It has the most. Now again, I'm a fan, so it's tough, right? But
well, that's what I was gonna say because mine is 100% biased. I haven't watched another Hard Knocks, and I probably will never watch another Hard Knocks other than the Lions. Like it's not like I was watching it today, and I was like, I don't think I will ever be this emotionally invested to sit down on a Tuesday night,
right,
and watch another team go through this stuff. Like it's cool, it's great insight. Don't care if it's not the Lions.
Yeah, that's totally fair. But I have, and I don't know why I have. I like it. I think they film it really well. It gets me excited for the season.
For sure.
Like I get that into my fantasy football mode. So that like,
yeah,
flying to mini camps and stuff. No, I'm not. But it's just, it gets me going for the season. And most of the storylines are like, okay. Episode 1 is typically like people driving in their Ferraris or their McLarens.
Yeah.
Right? But our first episode was pads, practice.
Yeah, pads and hitting.
And that's different. That's newer. Now they've done it in other, but not that way. And I think also HBO Films has learned, and they're really catering to Detroit. And John, they had some old clips of Detroit, like advertising for the football for the Lions. Okay. They had old footage of Barry. They had old footage of the brown grass they practiced on. And it was, they really did do a good job this week of showing, some of the graffiti and some of the culture of Detroit. And they really they did a good job encompassing it and giving us that feel, right, of what grit means, right?
Yeah.
To Dan and the group. So but anyway, Meko, keep going. I'm sorry, I jumped.
You're good, because that's a lot of I thought that was some really good filler stuff. Not to say that it wasn't good, but it's it's a really good look at how deep the roots of Detroit Lions football runs in this state. It's not new, right? Like you're saying, it goes back so many years. And it goes even back further than just Barry. So to see those clips was really cool. But this episode, Deuce Staley, I feel is actually going to come out of this season as the star of this, which is crazy to say.
100% agree.
Because Deuce just finds, again, we're only 2 episodes in, but Deuce has already outperformed himself from episode 1. This week we get a lot. We get a lot of the coaches again. And it starts out 2 players are getting hyped up by the coaches, and that's 2 guys that we've been hearing a lot about with the Detroit Lions. One on defense, one on offense. The one on defense being Malcolm Rodriguez, and the coaches just being bought in, being so impressed with the 6th round draft pick.
I'm so bought in.
And seeing Kelvin Shepherd just praise this kid in front of veteran linebackers, I can only imagine how Malcolm Rodriguez was feeling in that moment, where there's a little bit of pride, but at the same time it's almost please don't make these guys hate me, because he's getting all the praise in this moment about how he's doing everything right, and if he continues to do everything right, how he's just going to continue to climb the depth charts. And I can't wait till we start talking about the preseason game, because I do have a couple takes when it comes to Malcolm,
right?
And how the praise that we're seeing did somewhat translate to this preseason game at times and in moments. But you have Malcolm Rodriguez getting all the praise in the world, but on the offensive side, you get DeAndre Swift, in my opinion, getting the praise and the admiration that he justly deserves, as Deuce is basically beating the drum for how great he thinks DeAndre Swift can be in this league.
He also got some tough love too.
Oh, plenty of tough love.
So
but
go ahead.
I would say that that was Deuce being true to his word, because we see it in this episode where Deuce is talking to the other coaches, which I actually, again, another thing I appreciate from this episode is that we're seeing both sides of these coaches being consistent. They have these conversations with just them as coaches, and Brad Holmes is in these meetings, and they're having these conversations amongst themselves, but they carry that same message and that same praise back to their players. They're not being two-faced. They're not saying one thing behind closed doors and another thing to their players. Deuce carries that same praise that he's heaping on DeAndre to his face in front of the other running backs, and basically says to his face, you can be the best running back in this league. You can be one of the best running backs in this league.
Well, he says you are.
Yeah.
And it's just you are he says you can be, and then he goes, you are.
Yeah. And you need to believe it.
Yeah. You have to do it. And to your point, and to piggyback on the Malcolm Rodriguez thing, Calvin Shepherd wasn't just praising Rodriguez. He was destroying everyone else in the room. He was this, he goes, what round pick? And he goes, 6. And he goes, this 6th round pick is making Everyone looks stupid. He goes, give me a reason why I shouldn't start him. Calvin is like, give me a reason why I shouldn't start him. Y'all ain't giving me any reasons why I shouldn't start him. I'm like, he was like in their face, like, give me a reason, because y'all show nothing why I shouldn't start him right now. Like, I'm like, and you can see Malcolm being like, wait, what?
Like please don't make, like, again, please don't make these guys hate me.
And Calvin said it like 6 times. Like, it wasn't like once of like, okay. It was like, no, he kept repeating, like, no, like, nobody's listening to what I'm saying. He's the only one listening. And he goes, I've been here for 5 years. Or no, he goes, there's a coach that's been here for 5 years that said he's never seen a linebacker do what he did.
In the 5 years that
in the 5 years he's been here. This rookie, this 6th-round pick rookie, and he's like in their face about it. And I'm like, oh,
wow.
Hey. Oh yeah. Oh yes, like
yeah. So that hype train is fully gassed. Like that hype train is like not slowing down in the slightest.
If anything, I think they underplayed it on Hard Knocks because they had to. If anything,
I don't even think that's even possible. I don't even think it's like, one thing that I will say.
All right,
that I do fair. That I feel like is a little.
I'm being a little overzealous there, but
no, I'm not even just saying you, because I think Hard Knocks has done this as well. And again, I'll get into it more when we start talking about the preseason game, but like, it feels like this was a moment to hype up Malcolm Rodriguez, who's been getting a lot of praise and who the coaches are excited for. But the problem with it is, the only problem with it is that it makes the other linebackers look terrible in comparison. It makes it look like nobody else is capable of playing linebacker at a high level other than Malcolm Rodriguez. And once we get to talking about the preseason game, I will tell you why that's absolutely not true. Now, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it looks like in practice, but in the game, it looks entirely different.
Now to their defense, right? So this was pre-game, right? So this was pre-game. It was before the game happened and all this stuff. So to your point, Meko, I think that Calvin did his job in which he motivated the players to show up for the game. And they did. I think we're going to get to is I think they did. And I'm with you. I think it's not all. Now, I think Rodrigo, I think he's talented. I think he's great.
Yeah.
But yes, to your point, we'll get into that in a minute, but he's not the only one. No, but I think Calvin's doing his job in his first year, right? His first year doing this? Second year doing this. And
yeah. Because I think last year he was like outside linebackers coach or something like that. This is his first time just being linebackers coach. So,
right. No.
But yeah, like, no, I think Kelvin is absolutely doing his job. And again, praising the players that need, like, first of all, being honest and transparent with the guys that he has in this room. But again, not being beholden to, well, these are veterans, so they deserve to start. No, you play the best guys. And it at least looks like that from the classroom perspective, is that they are at least looking at this roster in that context.
John, I can't wait for you to see that scene.
I'm literally I'm gonna watch it before bed on my phone.
It's one of those moments where you're like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Like he's still going. Oh shit. Again. It's like,
yeah, that scene was longer than I thought it would be.
He kept going. I'm like, is this 2 minutes later? Like, okay. And Rodrigo is sitting there like awkward, like, thank you, but I don't know what to do with my hands. Oh,
but God. Yeah, so outside of Swift and Rodrigo getting their praise, we also get a refresher on Amon-Ra St. Brown. We get a refresher on Hutch. I think the stuff that we get on Amon-Ra St. Brown is really good. I think it's a lot of stuff that a lot of Detroiters already know, right? The 202 catches. You know that his dad was a Mr. Olympia, 2-time Mr. Olympia.
But we get to meet his dad.
But and his dad is no nonsense. Oh my
God. And they show both of the boys working out, and he's just talking, and they're just, and both of the boys are right now, their age right now, just grinding in the weights.
Since like 7th grade. Since Amon-Ra was like in 7th grade, he's been lifting weights.
Oh my God.
He was putting up what? Was it 150 he's putting up, or 125 at 6th grade? Like just repping it. Like full barbell with 2 25s on each, and he's repping that. And like 6th grade, 7th grade, it's like, wait, what?
It was.
Oh.
Oh my God.
But like Amon-Ra's dad is amazing. Like no filter whatsoever. He's like old school black man where he's just like he says whatever the hell he wants to say.
He goes, oh yeah,
Well, he was two-time Mr. Olympia. I feel
he
like
goes,
that also-
yeah. Hutchinson family ain't sitting with us. They're up in the Lux booth. They ain't sitting with us.
I was like, oh my God, he didn't just say that.
Because they have to, and then they cut to the family in the Lux booth. It's like, well, he's right. He called it. So,
like that doesn't look as good as you want it to. But
no, but
I loved his comment about Kevin Durant because he was talking about like how coaches and
his calves or his Achilles.
Yeah, he's like coaches come up to him and like, you know, like how do you go about training your sons and you know how do you get them to be so strong and this, that, and the other. He was like, it's no secret. Like he's like, you see these players all across in different sports, you know, getting hurt. He was like, you know, Kevin Durant tears his Achilles. The first question I'd ask is, when was the last time Kevin Durant did some calf raises? And I was like, oh my God.
Straight up.
I was like, no, Kevin Durant's out here catching strays.
It's in the NFL. It's hard not. Kevin Durant. Right. How is Kevin Durant in this conversation?
Like Kevin Durant has enough problems right now, and now he's getting called out.
Yes.
Oh man.
Right.
A two-time Mr. Olympia.
Right.
And like you can't say anything. Like I'm sure Kevin Durant's gonna say something because he's
sure he can't help himself. Yep.
But like you shouldn't. Like let that man just be who he is. But it was hilarious.
And then also, side note, can we just say Amon-Ra St. Brown is jacked?
Oh
yeah, no, they did this. They like on
old, like catching passes ever, and the DJ Shark's like, man, you work out today? He's like,
you look like Adonis.
Yeah, he's like giving it. What else did he say, Meko? He's like, yeah, you Adonis over there. He goes, man, you work out today?
He's like, you look chiseled. He's like, you look like you put on 300 pounds. Like
you know, on one of the Detroit Lions YouTube, I think it was like one of the because like they do those videos like wrapping up a whole week of training camp, and they did this like slow motion thirst trap of like slow motion Amon-Ra St. Brown running without a shirt on. And I was like, oh, this is the Lions PR team just read that report that 47% of NFL fans are women.
Yeah. And listen,
so that's they're leaning into that right now because they showed at least 5 minutes of him with his shirt off.
Listen, if the Lions end up winning more games, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be on the cover of GQ, basically probably nude. Like they're going to get him as close to naked as they possibly can.
He'll be in the Men's Health in that naked edition. They'll have him in that naked when all the athletes are naked.
Yeah, he's going to be all over the place if the Lions start winning games because they're going to be like, that's a good looking guy and he's chiseled. Let's see how little bit of clothes we can get on him.
Also, John, I think you'll appreciate this. He literally Amon-Ra lists off every wide receiver taken before him.
So and Meko said, and the school.
And the school. And it's just like, okay, that's like what Tom Brady did to fuel his fire. So if Amon-Ra, I mean, I think after hearing that, I just want to say he's going to have a better season than last year. He's picking up where he left off. I mean,
all reports in the preseason game, like, looking
for those that are listening, we're all shaking our heads left and right. Like, so for those that are listening, we're shaking our heads. Yes.
I mean, listen, and I think he has a right to have, looking at the season he put up last year, he has every right to have that chip on his shoulder for everybody after the first three guys. Like, first three guys, you kind of just got to, like, you got to kind of chalk that up to, like, all right. Yeah,
but, like,
those guys, like, 10? But everybody after that, oh, yeah, no, you can go after everybody else on that list.
Oh, he is. He's got a list, and he's Santa Claus
twice.
Yeah, he's Santa Clausing it right now. I'm gonna call him Saint Nick, not Saint Brown.
But
I knew John would chuckle on that one.
But yeah, there's a great feature with
my head.
Yes,
there's a great feature with him. There's a great feature I think with David Blau and his wife. I think that's really cool that they kind of like took the time to highlight a backup quarterback. And
I mean, they might as well before he goes, you know.
David Blau got a good amount of screen time, and it wasn't all pretty. So I'm glad they at least led with like, hey, he's a loving husband.
Yes.
Oh,
With an Olympian wife that will not be in Detroit for long. They didn't say that, but
I think that's the other thing about Hard Knocks is like you start trying to like look at like who are they featuring that you don't think is gonna be here anymore, and it's like
that one.
probably that guy.
wait. So again, I've not seen it, but do
Right.
we think that this lends credence to the Mason Rudolph rumor? Because like, there's no way that, given the performance against the Falcons, that they're getting rid of Blau and keeping Boyle. Like, Tim Boyle was so inconsistent. Like, Blau had a great game until that fumble. I'm not great, but he had a solid game until that fumble. But that's classic Blau. He's solid, and then huge, costly error at a dire time. And then classic Boyle was Boyle, just up and down, sailing balls into the rafters and then dropping dimes on the next, and then going back and forth. So do we think this lends credence to the Mason Rudolph rumor?
I think they will play out this game against the Colts. They'll let the two guys, again, they're going to split time. But if they're both erratic again, yeah, because both guys had costly turnovers. Tim Boyle threw a bad interception, and David Blau takes his eye off a snap and fumbles the game away, which again, as a fan, I don't care. It's a preseason game. I genuinely do not care.
Right.
But you can like those, Dan Campbell said, those are the things that they look at. Those are the things that they're going to focus on. So when you have two quarterbacks that are both turning the ball over, yeah, right now you guys are neck and neck for like who's terrible.
Yeah, so John, at the end of the game, Dan Campbell comments on this and mistakes and us, and the team being selfish. I say us, I'm not part of the team, but I feel like it.
We're there in spirit.
Well, I mean, we're in the locker room with these Hard Knocks. They get us in there. We're like in there, literally.
I mean, I put on a full Lions uniform every time Hard Knocks comes on. I don't know about you guys.
I'm about to. I got to order some pants. But
get the TJ Hawkinson pants.
Oh my God! Okay, no, we're leaving.
Miko's even got the tape on his arms for the turf. The turf tape for his arms.
Hawkinson's wearing the tightest shorts ever, and Dan goes, "My wife's got a pair of those. She looks good in them."
He's like really highlights the
he goes region. Really highlights the butt region. No, Dan is a player's coach, and it's amazing to watch because after the game, the things he says, right? I'm not going to do full spoiler, but he's commenting, because he's been there, right? And even before the game, he talks about how his biggest thing, John, and you sent the clip, I think it was in our group chat in regards to him being like the one thing that's going to Meko sent it.
Yeah,
the one
I want
thing
my credit.
That's gonna Meko sent it. All right, I'm sorry, The Athletic # Wood Reports # Athletic Fight.
Source me. Get your sources.
Meko sent it.
Oh yes, get your sources. Accountability and journalism.
I'm not a real journalism. So before the game, he goes, one thing that's gonna piss me off is if you are all like, if y'all, first team, if you're done playing and you're looking up in the stands, jerking around, effing off, I'm going to lose it on you. And he freaks out. He goes, we're all good. And everybody starts laughing and immediately like flips the switch of like, we're all good, but like, I'm going to lose it on you, but we're all good. So it's like, okay, it's a flag. But what he says in that moment, he goes, because when I was in Dallas, I was like a 7th-year starter, and Witten, was a 3rd-year starter, right? And all of our tight ends got hurt. And I'm looking at Witten, I'm like, well, Witten's not going in. Who's going to go in? Of course I'm going to go in. So he's like, I got to lace my shit back up and get ready. He goes, I don't want you guys to do that. Leave all your shit on. Don't undo anything. Stay like dressed for the game. And it was interesting because what other coach is going to give you that? Right?
Yeah.
That. And so that little nuance, that little story to me is what will connect these players to Dan even more, because they know that he's been there. They know that he understands. They know that they can trust him in what he's doing. And to Miko's point of all these coaches doing what they're saying they're going to do than doing it and saying it to them and to the coaches, right? So all of the above, like following the follow through. So that trust, that implicit trust, which is so hard these days in regardless of what, whether you're playing sports or whether you're in a working environment in the working world, trust is so hard to come by. It was, to me, that was the biggest thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's just another thing that they're going to trust him, right? Just another way in which the players will trust him.
And again, to your point, not just Dan, right? To go back to Deuce.
Yeah, Deuce. Yeah, for sure.
Deuce has an amazing moment with DeAndre Swift during that preseason game where, if you guys remember back when the game starts, DeAndre has 2 bad runs in the beginning.
Terrible.
And Deuce gets after him about it.
Pulls him off the field. Sends Jamal out. He goes, get off the field.
And does exactly what good coaches should do. Good coaches that have a conviction about you is that he's holding DeAndre accountable for everything he does on that field. Every mistake that DeAndre has, Deuce has an eye on it because he knows how good DeAndre can be. He even says to him, don't be so focused on trying to make a play. You're going to make a play because you're that good. If you stay disciplined, you're going to make the play regardless. And that's just, again, that's belief. It's hard coaching because he's cussing him out and he's going after him, but these players understand. And I think it does benefit come from the fact that these coaches played. And so even after DeAndre has a great run, Deuce gets excited. He's cheering him on from the sidelines. Then DeAndre has his touchdown run. And Deuce is still happy, but he still coaches him up in that moment to say, hey, you scored, but you made it harder on yourself than you needed to do. And he shows him on the he even puts him in the role of coach, like, coach me up. Tell me what you should have done. And DeAndre, being as smart as he is and as talented as he is able to break down to Deuce before he even sees the iPad or the Surface, breaks down what he should have done. And then Deuce shows it to him and says, boom, this is where if you had went here, you still would have scored.
It's just inside. He just keeps
saying,
like,
you still would have scored. You still would have scored.
John, he just screams inside like 30 times.
And I think it's
everybody. He screams inside to Dan Campbell. Inside. I told you, inside. You got to go inside. Why are you going outside? Why inside? I mean, right, Meko? It's like 30.
And
20.
He does. He keeps repeating it over and over and over again. And it's go inside and be disciplined. And essentially what Deuce is saying in that sense is not just be disciplined to what the run is, because again, there's a reason why DeAndre has the skill set he has. And there's a reason, like, sometimes holes close and you do have to be able to bounce. You do have to be able to adjust on the fly. But what I believe Deuce is saying to DeAndre in that moment is trust every bit of the ability that you have in your body, that you can power through whatever defender you think is in front of you. Believe you can beat that man. And he even says that to the coaches. He's like, I want DeAndre to believe that if he is one-on-one in a pass route, if he's one-on-one in the open field, he can beat anybody.
Yes, that's exactly what he said to all the coaches. And there's the thing, I think DeAndre Swift needs a little Marshawn Lynch in him. And that's what Deuce is trying to instill, right? There's a moment where Swift runs to the outside and lets this guy just push him out of bounds. He's like, you stiff arm him, that's a touchdown. Just stiff arm him and just get aggressive, get that dog. And they're using this, like, get that dog mentality. And I think that Swift, now here's the thing, I can relate now, not in football, but in regards to soccer. And for me, it's scary to go one-on-one and to go head-on into contact, into collision, into battle, all of that. It's scary, right? Like, I'm going to get hurt. I've gotten hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I got to go in again. Like, and so I think, Meko, to your point of him trying to convince DeAndre to trust his body, right? As we talk about injuries, that's very, very hard to do once you've been injured. So, but once you do it, though, once you break through that wall, like once I did it again after I broke my leg, it was fine. After that, like, no problem. Okay, just I'll run through people again, no problem. But it's just it's that moment, I think. And I think Deuce, if anyone's gonna get DeAndre to where DeAndre's gonna be, it's Deuce. That's again why I thought Malik being here, and I'm gonna say as a backup, we wouldn't be having this conversation about Blau and Boyle, but being able to be coached up, I think Vrabel's gonna I think Vrabel might ruin his career. Now that's a grandiose statement, but it's already started off rocky. So he's kind of a jerk, and Malik needs to be built up. So these guys are trying to get built up. I think again, like the Lions are like the Passages, right? The rehab of all of the they're like the Passages, rehab clinic for NFL players. But no, I really do believe that Deuce will get Swift to where he needs to be. And I can't wait to see it. And we're going to be able to watch it all season. It's going to be a great storyline.
Yeah.
John, do you have any other questions about other people that in this episode?
No, I'm just looking forward to seeing it.
Oh my gosh.
Because like I just want to experience it now.
You're gonna love
my body is ready.
It's your body needs to prepare, because I was not prepared. And again, they started it out hard. They go immediately into like retro old like Lions ads, and like, it's okay if they don't win, they're gonna try really hard. No, they're like, it's one of the ads. It's like, yeah, they're gonna try really hard. It's like, oh, we've been bad for that long.
Yeah. No, Gionne, but like I do, I can't wait to hear what you think of the episode. So make sure before you watch it, you light a candle, get your tissue, get your choice lubricant, and have a good time.
Oh my God. Moving on. Oh my gosh. What do we move?
Who says I wasn't great at transitions?
No, you're the best at transitions. They're just
my pregnant wife is gonna wake up and be like, "Why is the bed shaking?" Be like, "It's Hard Knocks. It's Hard Knocks."
It's Hard Knocks. I'm hard knocking.
See, it's Hard Knocks. It's Amon-Ra without his shirt on. Trust it. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. It's fine and normal.
It's not what you think. Okay, it's a little worse than what you probably think, but
oh my gosh. For those that haven't watched Hard Knocks listening, watch it now. HBO. I'll give you my login if you don't have one. Text me.
We're going to have so many people in the comments now like, hey, drop that login.
I'll drop the login. Hey, if you can't watch it, I'll drop my login all day.
Everybody needs to be able to participate.
1,000%. Okay, moving on. Gionne, what's next, sir? Meko, what's next?
No,
preseason game.
Preseason. We gotta talk
preseason game. Okay. All right. We're gonna talk preseason game. Are we gonna do a couple takeaways? Is it like 2 takeaways each? What do you want to do?
No, I don't know how you want to. It's like everyone's been doing their studs and duds, their ups and downs, and it's been 3 days since then. So we're a bit behind the 8 ball. We only do this once a week. We know, we get it, but.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to do something that no one else had kind of done yet. So I don't know if that's a takeaway. I don't know if that's something that was confirmed, something that a question you had going into this game that may or may not have been confirmed. What is still in question? We've been talking about this a lot. So
I have an overarching thought that I think is a good way to start us off.
Great. Speak on it.
So basically what everyone's talking about is Dan Campbell, right? Is this theory going to work with the coaches? Is this, you got this group of coaches that are all players and it wasn't to plan, and it's kind of a Dan Campbell experiment, right? Meko and John, like they're we don't know. People are like, this isn't going to work. Dan's not the guy. Now, in my opinion, from what I saw in the first preseason game, even after the Hard Knocks first episode, I saw a team fight pretty fucking hard. And I saw a team that only won 3 games last year, but played as hard as they possibly could. There was obviously mistakes, preseason game, but I think, in my opinion, the Dan Campbell experiment and what he's doing with his team and building this team and what we saw in Hard Knocks and everybody being together, trusting each other and trying, I think it's come a long way in 1 year. And I was quite impressed just by the showing. Now, again, this is 2nd, 3rd, 4th string guys against their 2nd, 3rd, 4th string guys. But I tell you what, I was very excited watching our team. I was very proud of our team. And that's not always the case. And so I thought they had a good team showing. And that's one of my big takeaways. And I think that Dan is doing the right things. Do I think that a lot of things, there's still some mistakes and even coaching mistakes? Yes, yes, and yes. But I think the overall culture shift and change is happening or has happened.
I would say, for the most part, I agree. On the surface, if we're talking about Dan Campbell's impact on the team and the coaching staff and Brad Holmes' impact on the culture of this team, 100% believe that has been that's something that we can check off the list. I think the rest of it is still in question.
Agree, but that's a huge check to check off, though, right, Meko? Our losing culture, that mentality. I mean, to get out of the Patricia era into something new in a year,
they got to win. They got to win for us to comfortably say that the losing culture is over. Wins have to pour in.
Okay, agree, but the mentality, the effort, that wasn't there. So we are on our way. We are on our way, and I do expect wins I do expect us to win. Now we have to see them, but based on what I saw, and again, this is early, but all again, like I was saying, the Dan Campbell experiment, what he's doing seems to be translating to the players. That's, I think, the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, and that's why I said I would agree with that part of it, right? If we are just talking about him having command of this locker room and having the ear of his players, that is a check mark. That's checked off the list of Dan is clearly doing that well. The thing that is still in question is, does that voice and does that leadership
can they win?
Translate into wins?
Agree. I'm with you 1,000%. Yes.
Until we see that that's just in question. Not saying that it's not going to happen. I'm just saying, to John's point that he listed in the notes, that is something for me that I would probably put in the in question category for right now.
Okay. That's fair. Totally fair.
One thing that was confirmed for me, though, in watching this first preseason game, it is, I have two things. One that's good, one that's bad. First thing that's good, the O-line and this offense is clearly, by far, the strength of this team. Now, the flip side of that is that the defense is way behind. It's not even close. If this is a race, the offense is Usain Bolt and the defense is the turtle from Tortoise and the Hare. It's not. Aside from a couple players, right? And it's the typical people that you would expect on the defense to be standing out. Aiden Hutchinson, Tracy Walker.
Dude, Aiden showed up, man. I was never an Aiden fan. Aiden,
he flashed.
Aiden and Goff, I've never been fans of, and they flipped me. They both flipped me a little bit. Aiden completely, but
I would say that they're both on. I think I had said this before, in a previous podcast, but everything for me that I'm seeing in preseason games and everything I'm hearing out of training camp, everything is a check mark. Everything is just a check on the list of things that I need to hear and I need to see to believe that the Lions can get to the win total that I believe that they should have.
Meko's got
and so far
ever.
Yeah, and so far right now they're checking off everything, right? The offense looks good. The offensive line is being dominant. The run game looks solid. Jared Goff seems to be improved and is hitting wide receivers in stride and finding success in the passing game.
Yeah, in stride, which I was worried about, but he is on dime.
Aiden Hutchinson is making plays when he needs to.
Dude.
Right? I would say I think outside of him losing Cantain on Mariota's first run, which he still chases him down and gets the tackle. But it's just those are rookie growing pains that I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, this is why he's terrible. No, he lost Cantain. He wasn't the only one to lose Cantain in this game, and it was a reoccurring theme.
Yeah, correct.
But if I'm looking at two things that were confirmed for me in the game, it was that the offense is clearly the strength, and it's exciting to see, and hopefully we get to see it again this week because they're going to go against a really tough defense in Indianapolis. So we'll see just how good this offense is in this next preseason game.
This will be a great test and at a great time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, the Atlanta was a great warm. Okay, we're here,
but you got to do it again.
Do you think, you got both of you, do you think the fact that Dan had them in pads immediately playing, to me, that was partly why I thought our team showed up a little bit more prepared just physically than Atlanta. I thought we were more physical. I thought we took it to him a little bit more. I thought we were a little more aggressive. And I'm wondering if that's because immediately he's like, pads, like we're going in. And you guys got to trust me.
That's just I think that's just the culture they're building. I mean, that's grit. I think the fact that
but okay.
That hold on. That they were in pads. I think that's no one got injured in our game. And I think that's why Campbell had the pads on early, is to get them reps at speed and at contact as early as possible, because they were decimated last year by injuries. And I think in his mind, they didn't do a joint practice, and I think they sort of eased into it. And I think in his mind, maybe that's something that I can do early, is that NFL games are at speed and it's uncontrollable violence. Sure. You've got guys rolling on you. You've got like dudes running into dudes. And to a certain extent, you can control that violence in practice. And so I think in maybe his mind, the coach's mind, we're going to do that early and often, more often than we certainly have, and more often than other teams do. But I think that was just the culture, like that. Okay. We're going to go after you. We're going to hit you. I mean, that was Aaron Glenn in episode 1 of Hard Knocks. The only advantage, or no, on the Peter Schefter interview, the only advantage we have in this game structurally is fear.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it benefited them later in the game. I think early in the game, you saw it kind of work against them. And I think that's another thing that's kind of in question about this defense is this like new attacking defensive scheme going to really like lead to like more defensive plays being made, or is it going to lead to more miscues and mistakes? Because we saw a lot of that. Guys being like amped up, hitting the hole hard on defense, but then you're so amped up to make that play that maybe you go to the wrong hole, or and that's a situation with Derek Barnes, or then you have a situation where Jared Davis, or you have a situation with Jared Davis where he completely whiffs on a tackle. He misses the running back altogether because he was so amped up and he's trying to deliver this hit on the fullback that he thinks is coming to block him, that he misses the running back running by him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this defense kind of plays out. But I think it helps in some situations, and I think it's a coachable moment to be able to go to your defense and be like, hey guys, love the intensity, love the fact that you're like crashing down, that you're willing to deliver the hit, but you still got to make the play. You still have to be, in the words of Deuce Staley, you still have to be disciplined. You still have to, be responsible for your gaps. You still have to be responsible for contain. You can't be so excited to make a play that it pulls you out of position.
Now
like
with
Tommy Boy.
So my on top of the defense, if you will, they held him at the end of the game, right to the 4th down, right? Were they at the 30? Were they at our 30? Do you remember at the end of the game? Was it our 30?
Yeah. It was. They were within field goal range.
So it was like, but it was like they weren't at the 20. They were
no. They weren't in the red zone.
And I got to give AG some credit, dude. They really stopped them. 4th down, and then they had, and then we couldn't contain, and obviously there's a no-namer that couldn't make a play. But I mean, when it's all said and done, at the end of the game, they got him to a 4th down.
See, anybody else have PTSD from that moment?
Dude, I'm so annoyed.
No, so like this is I know it's
I want your guys' thoughts. Yeah, John, go first, but I want your guys' thoughts at the end of like that like the defense at the end. John, go ahead.
I love that I was about to give you my thought on it, and then you interrupted me to tell me that you wanted to give my thought.
Because Meko was about to dive in. Yeah, he was diving.
Anyway,
in
jokes aside, no, I actually I'm not as optimistic as you.
Okay.
And it ties back into what we said about Boyle and Blau, is that yes, it's preseason and yes, it doesn't matter. But when you see the same mistakes being made from last year to this year, that kind of is a bit of a red flag. And I think that was a huge problem this defense had last season, was getting off the field on third down. We were like, I think the second worst in the league on third down last season. So the fact that they kept
fourth down though, just
so the fact that they kept on like making these fourth down and like converting, and like, is like the defense would look really, really good. And then they would get a fourth down and extend it, or they would pick up the third and long. And again, I know it's preseason. I know it's second, third, fourth string, but this is something that was a huge problem last season. And it looks like it continues to be a problem.
Actually, John, just for the sake of clarity, just so that we can be accurate, the Lions actually held the Falcons to being 3 for 10 on third downs. So they weren't converting that many. It's just timeliness though, right? So to your point, it is
just wasn't just numbers, Meko.
I mean, so 3 for 10 is good for your defense, but again, it is a matter of, well, when did you give them up? When did they convert? Yeah, when did you give up the third downs, and how costly were they? In the situation of this fourth down, right? They only went for it once on fourth down, and they converted on fourth down. So the impact is still there. You can't just say like, well, it just, it's 1 for 1, but like, yeah, but it's the one that you needed to get. But for the most part, I do agree with you, John. It's like, this is a problem because it is. I got PTSD when I saw it happen, and it's just like, again, and it's
with Blau first too, the PTSD of Blau, and then for them to come down and throw it on I'm like,
but to John's point though, like, okay, the fumble happens. There's plenty of time left in the game, and you're watching this defense get a stop, and you're just like, oh, okay, just get them off the field on fourth down. And this was another like under the rug type of like reoccurring theme, which again, it's preseason. I'm not trying to make this a bigger deal than it needs to be. But if we're talking about patterns from last season to now, this team didn't generate a sack all game. First string, second string, third string, fourth string, like whatever string of defense you were looking at, nobody got a sack on the quarterback. That's a problem. And in that situation, it's fourth string guys, whatever, but it's just like, man, the fact that no one can generate pressure to get to the quarterback so that he can't make that throw. Now, granted, it's a great throw by Desmond Ridder, because I believe he was like on the run going to his
he went off to his right and he threw it. I mean, he was covered. It just bad coverage.
But it's just,
I have a theory about the pressures, but
But in that situation, like you expect your defensive line to be able to get home. You expect somebody to win a one-on-one, and get to the quarterback.
Yeah,
essentially what AG is saying.
I see your point. There wasn't enough pressure. I get that. I watched the game. I watched it twice just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, now again, I think Aiden was having success in getting through early, but again, that's early. That's first stringer. So,
well, yeah, and the success that they did have with generating pressure, then that's when, like, again, not being able to contain the quarterback in the pocket shows up, which again is another thing that's kind of scary considering who they play week 1.
Yeah. Well, so this goes all into my, I don't know if theory is a good word, but and it ties into the efficacy of the offense. Is that how many times in the offseason and leading up to this did we say, if this offense turns into be what it is advertised or what we hope it can be, then someone will always be open, right? Like it's like Swift, Williams, Hawk, now Chark, Reynolds, Amon-Ra. Like, you cannot cover them all at the same time. And that is exactly what we saw. And Jeremy Reisman brought this point up. DJ Chark didn't catch a ball in that opening drive. Josh Reynolds didn't catch a ball in that opening drive. And TJ Hawkinson wasn't even playing. So I think we talked about this, top 5, top 10 tight end in the league are what's essentially wide receiver 1 until Jameson Williams either comes back or gets brought up. I mean, Amon-Ra's a slot, probably our number 1 option, but and none of those guys were involved on that opening drive, and we still went 85 yards in less than 4 minutes and scored a touchdown. And so it was just exactly what we wanted to see, and that you can't cover everyone, which ties into my point about the D-line. And I think why Onwuzurike being injured and Pascal and Julian Okwara is so detrimental, because I think it's the exact same principle that between Charles Harris, Aiden Hutchinson, Ali McNeil, Onwuzurike, Julian Okwara, I don't know how many guys they're going to have on there at any given time, but one of those guys is going to have to be covered. I mean, as soon as Hutchinson
made that play, he was
whooped the man that left tackle looked stupid. Yeah. They double teamed him. Boom. For the whole time, every other time he was in, he was double teamed. He drew that great holding penalty. He was double teamed. So ostensibly, someone should have been open to go to the quarterback. But as Meko pointed out, there was none. There was no pressure. And that's where I think I'd like to think that Onwuzurike could have gotten through there. Julian Okwara could have gotten through. And I think that's why them being injured and Pascal is very concerning to me, because I think now that they're missing the reps at speed, they're missing the reps at contact that Campbell talks about. And, I don't know, because I think that D-line is operating on the same principle as this offense of, like, you just can't, you got to pick who you're going to leave open and cross your fingers.
And this goes back to health. They need to be healthy. For Lions to be successful, the team has to be healthy.
Well, and one other thing that I'll say to that point, John, is that if it's not anybody on the D-line that's going to generate pressure, I do think the Lions have some linebackers that can. And this goes back to the point I was talking about earlier, where I was saying Rodrigo's getting a lot of credit, but he isn't the only linebacker back there making plays. Jared Davis, they are doing with Jared Davis what Jared Davis does best, and that is blitz. You send that man from his linebacker spot
just go
into the backfield.
Let's go.
He is blowing up whoever decides to stand in his way. And that alone, like, I'm going to beat the drum for Jared Davis if nobody else will, because
I will beat it with you. John loves Gerard.
Listen, I get it. JD had I want to say maybe 2 bad plays, and one of them really wasn't his fault. It was
a tale of 2 halves for Jared Davis.
Right. So you get the roughing the passer call on him, which wasn't really
soft
his
fault.
No,
that was a weak call.
Very. And then the other play that I talked about, where he comes crashing down, looking to hit the fullback, when it's like, just, again, be disciplined and occupy your gap. And if you do that, you have a tackle for loss on the running back, because I believe Rodrigo had already taken the fullback, and Jared Davis was just like, nah, I'm knocking that dude out. And he does. And it's exciting, but it's like at the detriment of giving up yardage. But you see him, to your point, John, in the second half, he dropped in coverage well, deflected a pass, was in coverage in perfect position to make a tackle the minute a catch was made. And then he blitzed like it was nobody's business. And he's not being talked about enough. I don't really listen. The coaches are going to talk about who they want to talk about, and that's fine. But being on Twitter and seeing people being like, oh, Jared Davis is still Jared Davis. Listen, I think you probably sent out those tweets a little early, because you clearly didn't watch him in the second half, because the man clearly showed improvement, and it's clearly a reflection of the coaching that he's getting. Because when Jared Davis was here, he didn't drop in coverage well.
Right.
The only thing that he did well was blitz, but they never let him do it. He did it on a number of plays, in that preseason game. And I want to see more Jared Davis in the next game because I think him and Malcolm Rodriguez next to each other, and if you want to throw Derek Barnes in there as well, I think that should probably be your starting linebackers. And I think Jared Davis is your edge / like that's the dude you're sending to blitz. Like, go get the quarterback. If you're not dropping in coverage, go get the quarterback at all times. Because if Aiden's going to be doubled, if
right,
McNeil is going to, probably just take a little bit of time developing. You have Brockers, and then you have Charles Harris. Having Jared Davis there to basically just split heads, just crashing into the offensive line is a good problem to have, in my opinion.
Now, Meko, what do you think about Barnes' performance?
Up and down. Again, Derek Barnes, like a lot of these other linebackers, had a very up and down performance. If I had to rank the linebackers and who I thought performed best, for me personally, it's Jared Davis, then it's Chris Board, then it's Malcolm Rodriguez, and then it's Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes, again, there were a couple plays where he's so excited to make a play that he, again, overshoots a gap, tries to take a different lane to get to a play where if he had just occupied his gap, there's no yardage gain. There's another play where he's hesitant to move and allows a lineman to come and pull and block him. And it's like, dude, if you are moving your feet, if you are looking and trying to get to the ball, you don't get blocked squarely like that. So Derek Barnes for me was a little up and down, but you see the potential. He had a great tackle for loss where you see the same type of burst that Jared Davis has.
Yeah, he had. Yeah, I remember.
Where you're just like, man, if he
you're
trusts his instincts and he does his job, he'll be in position more often than not. Somebody said it on Twitter where they're like, Derek Barnes is essentially the same version of Jared Davis, and I believe so, probably in their infancy. I just think that Jared Davis has evolved. Chris Board is the other one that Chris Board came in after they had given up a couple big runs. They stopped giving up runs once Chris Board came into the game. He was very, very impressive in run defense, in my opinion.
That was another thing that I wanted to touch on, that it may seem like we're just not ragging on the defense, but it was definitely the weaker of the two sides of the ball. One bright spot that I saw from previous Lions teams was I don't recall very many yak yards. And it seems like open field tackling has cleaned the hell up. Yeah. I just remember watching this team in the Patricia era and before Schwartz era. I just remember it taking 4, 5, 6, 7 Lions to bring a guy down. And
episode 1 of Hard Knocks, they were Dan was freaking out when the D couldn't do that. Episode 1, right? He was like, dude,
dude,
have to make tackles.
And Okuda, Rodriguez, Hutchinson, if the defender got a hand on him, they were brought down. They may not have brought down immediately at point of contact. More often than not, it seems like they were. But it seems like whoever made first contact brought that guy down. And that's something that I do not remember seeing for a very long time with this team.
That's fair.
Very fair. I think it is. There were, to your point, John, we were ragging on the defense. There were signs of encouragement, right? There was some solid tackling. Jeff Okuda looked solid. I think he looked very good considering, again, a guy coming off an Achilles injury.
He hasn't played.
Yeah, he hasn't played.
He hasn't played.
Listen, my biggest thing was please don't let him get torched for a touchdown. If he had gotten torched, I'd have been like, well, that's the end of Jeff Okuda's career in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I think he knows that. I think he's got to be aware of that, and he knows it. So probably playing a little safe, I think. But now that we're talking, what about Chase Lucas? And oh my God, Lucas almost had that INT.
Yeah,
it's a moment at the end of the game. I was close.
Yeah, somebody on Twitter pointed out it reminded them of DeAndre Swift's play, his first drop touchdown in his rookie season, where that can be the play that fuels you for the rest of your career, where you're just I will never.
Lucas will never miss that again. He will
Right, like,
never, ever. He was on the ground. He was like mortified. He missed that. He knew he had it.
Well,
He jumped the route. It was amazing. He knew what was happening. He jumped it. He was there and literally like, he was like, how did I not catch that? You're so excited.
Well, to that, I don't.
Go ahead, John.
Did you guys see that the Lions posted to Twitter that play of his from practice from 11 on 11s? And again, beautiful. Played absolutely impeccable defense. And the ball came. Blau, I think, was dropped a dime to it was either Pimpleton or Khalif Raymond. And Chase Lucas just came down with it. And it was a tough grab, but he came down with it. And I think, to your point, Scott, it's already in his head, and he's already using the field because he did not miss that one.
And that was Meko citing my source. That was Meko.
Oh, Meko
citing my source. It's okay. We're just trying to cite sources here, just so everyone's aware. Questionable Pockets always cite sources. We're very cite.
We don't want to fire any interns.
We don't want to fire any interns for poor social media management.
Oh man. But like, yeah, I think that's the thing that is going to fuel Chase. And I'm really excited to see Chase get more opportunities. He looks like this year's Jerry Jacobs, which makes me scared for Jerry Jacobs.
Right. So Chase, and then who's the other rookie we drafted? What's his name?
Kirby Joseph.
Oh, Kirby I thought he had some flashes as well.
Yeah, Dan Campbell pointed out as such.
He defended quite well. So I'm very, very happy. And I think that's one big takeaway. I think I'm going to, from also the preseason game, is everyone we drafted had a couple flashes, like a positive, more, and I'm going to lean more positive than negative. Sure, there's negative, but am leaning more like, wow, all of them have more positive like influence than negative. All the rookies. And so I got to get, hats off to Holmes on that, and Dan and the coaching staff for getting them ready. But those kids, man, they are ready to play. Now, I think, to John and both of your point, is that I think we need to harness this energy, right? I think that's a big part of the coaching staff. They're going to have to harness this energy, excitement, this whole wave of new Lions, and like, the first, it's something new, right? Dan Campbell is something new. They're a part of something new. They're very excited. And to your point of like Jared Davis and everybody jumping and being too excited and not making the plays, I think that's up to the coaching staff to reel them in just enough. They got to have that energy, but you got to get them to like make the plays and be able to hold it in and harness it a little bit more, right? I think, and again, preseason game 1. Clarifying here, but
no, I think it's a good indicator. Like I said earlier, it's a good teaching moment to reiterate, like, hey, we don't want you to not be excited, but like Deuce Staley said to DeAndre Swift, be disciplined. Trust that if you are in the right place at the right time with that same energy, you will make a play. The play will come to you. There's a reason why there's a reason that gap is assigned to you, right? In the event that a running back cuts back, you have occupied that gap. Don't over pursue because you think that you can make that tackle. Trust, Dan Campbell said in his post game, right? Trust your teammate. Trust that your teammate is going to make that play in place of you.
Right. Don't be selfish.
Yeah.
Now, who was he talking to? So at the end of the game, John, he says there was moments where we were selfish. Meko, who do you think he's talking about? John, too. I'm asking both of you, but he was saying there was moments players were selfish. What do you think he means there? I didn't really get that.
So if I had to pick somebody.
Oh, boy.
If I had to pick somebody, and it's not like, again, I don't think it's selfish in the context that like you don't care about the person next to you. I do think it's just in the manner of excitement. Derek Barnes made a couple selfish plays. Like I said, I sent you guys a text breaking down, and Jeremy tweeted it out where he basically labeled it as just poor linebacker play. But there's a run that's happening, and you can see how the defense and offensive line is flowing. Malcolm Rodriguez takes the outside, so he has outside contained. The next person over is Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes, there are 2 holes that are in front of Derek Barnes.
He goes inside and then
He jumps inside, and by the way that he jumps inside, it doesn't seem like that's his gap. It looks like his gap was the gap right next to Malcolm Rodriguez.
Right.
And the backside gap would have been Tracy Walker's gap, who was in position to occupy that gap. Derek Barnes jumps inside, and because he jumps inside, the running back is able to therefore just take the next gap. Where, again, if Derek Barnes stays disciplined, if Derek Barnes occupies his gap, running back runs right into him, or at worst, runs into Tracy Walker, or has to do something crazy where he tries to bounce even further outside and runs into Malcolm Rodriguez,
who will destroy him.
So,
side note, one-handing offensive lineman. I'm sorry, I can't with that. Go ahead.
That's one person that I could probably like label as maybe being a little selfish in that moment. But again, I don't think it's in the same context. Sense. I don't think it's as negative as
but it sounds. But it makes sense as Dan trying to build the team, right? The team, do your job, a little bit like the Patriots. He's not saying it, but like do your job, know your role, be disciplined. And that's, I think what Dan's words are like, respect the game. And I think that's what Dan means in respect the game, like do your job.
Nice. Yeah.
Right. When he says respect the game, it means do your job. Because I feel like Dan Campbell was the guy that just did his job over and over and over and over and over again, and just like did it, blocked a bunch, and I did my job, and we won. But I just did my job. I didn't get a lot of touchdown. I didn't do a ton, but I did my job. And so I think that's why it's cool. Like he wasn't like a super talented tight end, right? Or I mean, he was talented. Don't get me wrong. He's in the NFL, but
he wasn't Kelsey.
He's not a Kelsey or a Witten, right? Like he even said it. He goes, I'm not Jason Witten. Who's going out there? Of course I'm going out there. Lace up my shit. And I'm going back out there because they're not throwing Witten out there. But that's what makes him so relatable, A, to the players, but B, to me, right? Just as a viewer and as a fan. Like just rooting for him and them so much, right? Now, that rooting for him is not going to get them wins, but if the players, and I think, and then I'm going to wrap with this real quick, is that Aaron Glenn, he did have a moment, John, so you'll appreciate this. He had a moment in front of the team where he was talking about changing the mentality, about losing.
The clip. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So, and I think it's different than obviously the clip you've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So, again, shout out to HBO Hard Knocks and the film crew. They do a great job with that. But it was, again, that was a moment. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome to hear, and I get it, but we have to do it. You know what I mean, Meko? Yeah. Your point of like, we have to do it. And I don't think it's clearly not lip service, right? Aaron, it's not lip service. I think Aaron like means it when he says it. He believes it when he says it. But the players have to believe it, right? So that conveying to the players and encouraging them to live that winning lifestyle, that's key. And I think they're starting to, but we got to win, right? To your point. So that's tough. The hardest thing to do.
Nah. And I think like, again, they have an opportunity this week, playing against the Colts, practicing against the Colts, and playing against the Colts to kind of, again, correct a lot of those things and to really continue their trend on changing that mentality and changing the culture even further. So with that said, going into this game against the Colts, second preseason game of the season, like what are you guys looking forward to, or what are you going to be focused on? What are you looking forward to the most in this second preseason game?
Gionne, will you lead us off, please, kind sir? Sorry, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've been on the pads.
First one of the show.
Yeah.
And not the last one.
Do we know if the starters are playing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to see if the starters look as good as they did against a better team. That will be good. And I think from the defense, very similar. The people who I were looking out for last when Meko and I were here last week, I said I was looking out for Craig Reynolds, Chase Lucas really stood out. The backup running backs. Craig Reynolds, I think, did okay.
He did okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Jefferson did not look okay.
He did not.
I don't know how much of that was a function of O-line play or it was him, but it seems like Craig Reynolds is definitely RB3. I'm going to still be looking at that. Chase Lucas, again, going to be looking for that. But I think I'm going to be, I don't know. I don't have the X's and O's knowledge of football that Meko has. So I think I'm going to be trying to look at a lot of this stuff if we get pressure on the quarterback. if we just find a way. Now, again, Onwuzurike is not going to play. He's not even traveling down. Pascal, I'm sure, is not. I don't know if Julian Okwara is. I don't know if he's said any. If we have anything definitive about what his injury is. He just says it's taking longer than we'd hoped.
Yeah.
Same as Kabinda. But
John, my question to you is for the offense to do what it did this past week. So is it successful if the offense goes down and gets a field goal? Or do you want to see a touchdown? I guess that's my question.
I want to see a touchdown because it really seems like the strategy is they're really embracing this. Holmes and Campbell are really embracing this modern NFL idea of you have to score 30 between 30 and 40 points. And if your defense can come up with a key stop once, maybe twice, you'll win the game. And it really looks like we have the weapons on offense. And so I would really prefer us to see, I would really prefer to see us score a touchdown when we have that, because it really seems like this defense, again, unless we see something unless AG cooks something up in the mad scientist lab, and he has this defense looking different in a game, it really seems like we're going to live and die by the efficacy of this offense. So I would like to see a touchdown.
Now, is a field goal a failure?
No.
But is 4 and out a failure?
Yeah,
but is
absolutely.
What?
A 4 and out?
4 and out. Yeah. No, I'm giving John a hard time. Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like it's fine. Like a field goal is, it's fine.
That's what I'm looking for. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, John.
Scotty, what are you looking for in this next game?
I am super curious how our defense can stop the run game for the Colts. Right. So, what's his butts who ran all over everyone last season? Right. They're gonna at least play him.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor. They're gonna play in the first series, I'm assuming, because he's gonna have to get some run in. So I'm curious how we can stop that. And so I'm curious to see how our defense and what Aaron Glenn has as a package to defend that, because last year he was almost indefensible, if that is the correct term. John, I will ask.
Indefensible, yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just think that, to me, that's the biggest thing. Like, can we stop Taylor? Right. Quarterback, right? Who's the quarterback now? Is it Wentz still?
No, Matt Ryan.
Oh no, he's still learning. He's still learning it, but Matt Ryan can still dink and dunk like Drew Brees, like with the best of them. So I do worry about that. So we're gonna have to prepare for the run and for short passes. And so I'm very curious to see how our defense responds to that. I'm gonna see what Aaron Glenn has to offer as a package and see how everybody does. And we're traveling, first time traveling for rookies. So it's very much on the defense. I'm very curious to see what happens and who shines and who doesn't. And I think, Meko, to your point of Barnes and everybody who shows up and does their role, And I think this is a big, and this is also a key moment, episode 3, key pivotal moment for Hard Knocks, right? Because then we have to start cutting down the roster. So then they start showing meetings in like the creepy corner camera of like, so you guys haven't seen it if you both haven't watched it. So they have a camera in the corner of like Dan Campbell's office as he like says, "Hey, love what you're doing, but you got to go." And it's like, oh, that hurts, you know?
Yeah.
And so but it's not like a real camera. It's like it's like a security camera they have there with a mic. Yeah, no, it's kind of effed up, but they did it. And I remember the Cleveland Browns one too. That one was just weird. It was just a weird Hard Knocks. But anyway, so that's what we have to look forward to. That's what they're going to do. They're going to record Dan Campbell and the coaches literally cutting guys. And it hurts, it sucks because you're like, this is this person's future that he thinks, he's lost or, and then sometimes they get picked up by another team immediately. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'm curious about the defense because I think that's the biggest question mark. I think our offense is solid. I think we've got all the pieces. It just depends on who's starting, right? Who's starting, who's going to play. I think that affects what calls that, what plays they call in general for the offense. I do want to see Swifty have a better day. I do want to see Swifty and Jamal have good days. So my my two things are, how's the defense going to respond to Taylor, and how is Swift going to respond to? Those are my big, I think my two that I want to see. Meko?
Yeah, my two are still the same from last week. I'm still focused on these linebackers, and I'm still focused on these corners. Probably like best bet right now is that Malcolm Rodriguez starts week 1. It's at least trending that way. It's really just a matter of who starts next to him. Are they going to stick with Alex Anzalone? Are they going to do they see the same things from Jared Davis that I see? Because I see somebody who's more than worthy to start as of after one preseason game, worthy to start. So working and focusing on the second game, like I'm still going to be looking at that position and seeing again what the pairings look like, who gets to start and who is getting paired with who. Because I still think the Lions need to figure out like what combination of linebackers are starting together. And the corners that played last week, Amani, Will Harris, Jeff Okudah, like they all gave up a catch in some capacity or whatever. So I want to see the corners be a little more physical at the line. I just feel like they were a little too many like free releases, and going strictly based off what Aaron Glenn said he wanted to see from his corners, being physical within those first 5 yards. I didn't see any of that. So I would love to be able to, get better glimpses of that in the second preseason game. And then thirdly, kind of in line with John, right? I want to see this offense be consistent. I don't necessarily like need them to go out and get a touchdown per se, because that team is playing defense too. So it's not just like you get to do whatever the hell you want to do.
Should.
But I want to see it look functional. Like I wanted to see it like, the play structure looks well. If Jared Goff is throwing it, I want him to still continue to be on target, and I still want him to be accurate. If a corner just so happens to make a great play, then a corner makes a good play. I want to see the offensive line continue to be dominant. So it's more a matter of consistency for me, not necessarily like you have to go out and get 6 every single time, because the reality of the situation is
not going to happen.
It's not going to happen like that every Sunday, but you still have to be like functional and impactful. So whether that's a field goal, whether it's at least getting into the red zone, like you just gotta be progressing in that space for me.
May I add one?
Sure.
I'd love to see Jared Goff audible and do something and adjust at the line, because if we think about it, right at the beginning of every game in the NFL, we have scripted plays. You go down the field because they don't know what you're doing. But as the game goes on, the defense learns what you're doing, and then they're coming at you. I'd love to see Jared Goff audible. I'd love to see him adjust in real time. I'd like to see that. I think that's something that he's really worked on
this season or in the preseason game.
Oh, in the preseason, he won't have to, John, because he's going to have 10 plays in his pocket. He's going to run 6, 8 of them, and then he's going to be pulled off. So like, it is what it is. Like they
And
have,
it's not the actual like game script, and it's not like the actual playbook, right? Like they run a very vanilla. All teams do, right? Like they run a very vanilla offense.
From what I've heard, like the likelihood that you get the exact same plays from preseason in the regular season
is correct. Yeah, you won't.
Like the playbook is like, from what I've heard, the playbook is like almost like as thick as like a dictionary, right? Like it's, but like you only take like so much of that playbook into the regular season. So what you get in preseason may be like, you know, a quarter of that, and that's not even the stuff that they end up running in the season.
From what I understand, it's like the basic plays that you're gonna run that are like your go-to, like to Amon-Ra, that's he's gonna get open, right? Like to a Devontae Adams,
play action,
gonna get open, right? You're playing those plays that are like your go-to plays. Make sure they work, all that stuff. But what I'd love to see is Goff have to adjust, right? I think that's something that I always thought that he's always had someone in his ear, right? In LA, he had someone in his ear. Now he still does, but I think he's given more freedom, and that's why he's taken and, per his words, tried to really learn the playbook as best he can, because he's the one running it, right? He's the one on the field. So I want to see him continue to grow in this role, which he's never had, right? He was told what to do in LA. He wasn't, and that's, again, I'm not there, I don't know, but from everything I've read, right, he was literally told, this is your play, you're throwing it to this guy, these are 2 options. Now he has way more freedom. Go ahead, Meko.
So you don't think he ever audibled?
No, I think he audible. What I'm saying is, like, he was directed, right? He had God, I'm tired, what's his face,
Sean McVay
in his ear the entire time, right? That was the whole thing. And when his earpiece went out is when he, like, those were
I'm more so, I guess, insinuating that, like, I think Jared Goff is very comfortable audible. I think he did it at times last year, and I think he's done it at times in his career. I just don't know, like, how drastic those audibles are going to be. Like, I don't think audibles are usually all that drastic in the NFL period.
It's not drastic. It's just about him making a decision at the line and sticking with the decision and not second guessing himself, right? To me, it's more of a confidence thing. I just want to continue to see his growth and confidence. I've seen it so far. I saw it at the end of last season. He just needs confidence, right? If we're going to win, he's got to be confident. He's going to have to know what he's doing. He's got to hit the throws. And so I just want to continue to see that, right? That's another thing I just want to continue to see. So him audibling or having to adjust the play, like sight unseen, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I gotta change it. Not that he can't, but like, I just want to see it, right? I don't believe he had to obviously, against Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's why I said, like, I don't know if he did against Atlanta. I'm fairly confident he did against, like, last season.
No, correct. I just want to see it again. I want to see it because he has more.
John's face.
I know, John's driving me crazy right now. I just want to see Jared Goff continue to grow in his confidence, because he is the cog in the wheel for our offense, right? He's going to have to. He's the guy. So we're going to live and die by Jared Goff.
But I mean, I guess in that sense, then couldn't you still see that confidence in just him executing the plays that are called?
Correct. But I want to see him make his own decisions at some point, because he's going to have to. And and that's all. That's it. John doesn't like.
Can I add one? I'm going to add one if Scott got to add one.
Sure.
I need to see TJ Hawkinson play well.
I need to see him play, period.
Why?
We've talked many times on this podcast about this being a big year for him, and he's up for a paycheck. I'm sure he wants to get paid. I think he is elite. He is an elite level talent. I think we were counting on having an elite level tight end on our team. And I don't know. I just think that he I think he was injured on and off throughout his entire career, and I think this is a make or break. Not make or break, but I think this is a very telling season coming up for him. And we've talked about on the show wanting to see it from him. And I think it would be nice in the first series if we saw, even if he doesn't make a spectacular play, just some solid blocking. He's always been a great blocker. And I think to give Jared Goff more time.
You just want to
I would really like to see Hockenson play well.
I'm sorry. Both of yours, like, so your two like additions, like both have had me like a little confused because so Scott's saying that he wants to see Jared Goff make audibles where like we've seen him make audibles. No. You're saying that you need to hold on, and you're saying that you want to see TJ Hockenson make plays in a preseason game when we've seen him make plays in the regular season. So like, what is it that he hasn't done? Like that's where I get confused because it's like, what is it that you need to see him do in a preseason game that you haven't already seen him do?
We just want confirmation, Meko. It's just
I'm declining to answer that. I'm not going to answer that.
I'll answer that. We want confirmation.
No,
we want confirmation.
No, it's I think what you were talking about with, I don't know if you would use the word consistency or trajectory. Like it's the same with Blau and Boyle making the exact same mistakes that they made last season. It's about that feeling of dread of like, oh, we saw like you said, the PTSD on them converting the fourth down in a very like at the absolute in dagger time, as Matt Stafford would have called it. And so I think too, like in that, if that's consistency of like bad things, then yes, TJ Hockenson has shown he is every bit deserving of that elite status. I think I would just like to see that again. He got tangled up. He's been injured. You know, that's certainly consistent from year to year. So I would just like to see the level of play be consistent as well.
So essentially what you want to see is just him on the field. Like it's not a matter of consistent play because you know, like when he's available, he makes plays. It's just you don't see him available enough, is what it sounds like.
That's fair. That's a fair way to say it. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to see Goff make his own decisions. Yes.
I'm gonna let you just let you have it.
Very, very
I'm gonna just let you have it.
Very valid assessments.
All right.
Okay.
No.
That's it. All right. Well, we got to. So I promise this every time I'm at the board. We have to play this every week from here on out for positive juju.
Let's go. I said the Lions won a game. Man, we going all the way. All the way, baby. We about to celebrate. Why? Because the Lions won a game.
Now we didn't win.
I was gonna say, like that just makes me feel worse.
We did not win.
Yeah, we can't play that every episode.
We gotta win that. Until Blau.
No, cut it.
So I should. Where the car crash? I think the car crashed for Blau. I think I got rid of it because I like off now.
Oh man, that hurt. Like hearing that song after they like knowing they lost and how they lost, it's just like, nah, I don't want to hear that song.
No, I know. I know.
It's such a great song, and it's just like it does
poison the well.
You know, so much of me believes we won. We didn't win the game, but we won in regards to what Dan Campbell is trying to do. Well, I mean, we did. No, stop.
We didn't. We didn't win the game by any tangible metric that determines the outcome of actual game.
Theoretically, we talk about preseason doesn't matter, correct? So, as the way we speak now,
no, it doesn't matter. But I'm not about to take preseason losses and pretend that they're preseason wins either. Like,
I didn't say they were wins. They were wins for the team. Not a win as a W. They were a win for the team.
They're not a win, but it's a win.
Okay, Meko has joined us in the world of the upside down.
Oh no, I'm like more so making fun of it. Like that's asinine, dude.
That's fine. Meko's fine. So anyway,
I'm not co-signing that thought process. They lost.
Yeah, no, I know they lost. Hey, Cam, are you still around for backup?
Hang that phone up right now.
You wanna come over? He hung up. So anyway, I think that's it, right, fellas? Anything else?
Yeah.
That was awesome, John. Go watch it now. Okay. For those of you who didn't see, please go watch Hard Knocks, Detroit Lions version of Hard Knocks, HBO. If you need an HBO login, I will give you mine. I don't care. Everyone should see this. Only if you're from Detroit, though. Only from Detroit. If you're from Detroit, I'll give you my login. Regardless, please like, follow, subscribe the Questionable Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah, there's a lot coming up. We keep saying it, but it's all here. Anything else, guys? I want to thank my friends, family, the crew. You guys, thanks for holding it down for a couple weeks. And John and I had our sessions. You, Meko, you and John had your sessions. I'm just happy to have the crew back together, and I'm very excited for next week. Yeah, that's the biggest stuff. Meko?
No, man. Obviously, got to give a huge shout out to my wife, my girls, you guys, everybody that has subscribed to the YouTube channel, follows us on social, engages with us in the comment section. Keep doing that, right? Whether we're right, whether we're wrong, whether you think we're smart, whether you think we're stupid, let us know, because I'm always intrigued.
Gionne?
Yeah, thank first and foremost the wife. Thank you, and thank you to you guys. It's great being back with.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's full attendance. Everyone gets full attendance, and I'm grateful that the preseason game with the Colts is on my birthday. I'm gonna be 30 something years old. And
stop it.
I'm turning 39. So
yeah,
on August 20th. So
look
everyone
grinning, be like,
yeah.
So everybody wish Gionne a happy birthday in the comment section.
Old shits.
My 40th is next month. At least you're 39.
Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah, I still get to have the illusion of youth. That's being ripped away from Scott next month.
It's over. It's over. I'm like terrified.
Yeah.
It's over. It's over. So many ways.
It's real.
No, it's not. I'm having panic attacks about it. Go ahead, John. Keep continuing.
Yeah, no, I'm too, because I'm already there. I was there at 38. I was like, oh, I'm 40.
Nope.
38.
When you get to the 40 number, then you're there. No, it's different.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, oh yeah, 39. Oh yeah, I'm 40, whatever. And now I'm like, no. No.
Yeah, I was hoping that I would be able to ease by having anxiety about it for 3 straight years. I was maybe hoping that I'd be like, oh, well, when it's actually here, it's it seems like no, it's even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yep.
Love it.
Well, I'll let you know in a month.
Are you going to buy one of those new Corvettes? No, you're going to lease one of those new Corvettes.
No, I'm going to lease a Lamborghini for a day and call it a day. No, I'm not doing any of that. No, all I'm going to do, I'm gonna sell some t-shirts. We got some new t-shirts coming out. That's all I'm doing for my birthday.
Fantastic. I love the attitude. Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope. Making money for the crew. That's it.
I hate to rain on your old guy parade, but
okay, stop, Mr. 27-year-old.
I wish. I'll be 33 this year.
I'm kidding. Oh, big difference. You might as well be 27. In my book, you're 23, and I'm so jealous.
I feel great.
God, I hope y'all in the comments you're here for the laughs, because we got them for days, at least for us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Meko, just wait until I just have this thing in my right elbow. I just woke up with it 4 days ago, and it's just still there. And I've been doing this infrared light stim on it, and it's just it's Meko, still
just
there.
Wait till you turn 35, bro. Just wait till you turn 35.
It's you just wake up with shit.
No, I've had that. It's just the things that keep me young are just different. As long as I can continue to go back to back with the wife, I'm still young.
Oh, Meko won a game.
Redeemed. That's fair. That's redemption.
I had to fix the song. I ruined the song, but I fixed the song.
That's fair.
Meko won a game. All right, you guys, that's it from us, the Questionable Podcast. Thank you for everything. Please like, follow, subscribe. This is the Questionable Podcast. Out.